is going on, DJ Nation? Kenny Kim here, bringing you another Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast. This week, we're doing a recap, and we're looking ahead to 2025 on the PGA Tour. What a year. This pod started, first pod, December 23rd, 2014. It is now December 23rd, 2024. 2015 was when we first started. So 9 full years. We're on season 10. How better to celebrate than with everybody's favorite South African, Byron Lindeque. Byron, what is up, my friend?
Kenny, a big congratulations to you on doing something like that for 9 years. I mean, this is arguably your biggest relationship of your life.
Yeah,
the most committed
other than my
to
parents.
anything.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, you can really choose that. So, I mean, this is your own decision to be committed to this for 9 years. Congratulations. I wish you many, many more happy years. Looking forward to a fun year ahead with you. We're going to do some reviewing. I've got some of the worst shots of the worst rounds of the year, some of the best rounds of the year, some fun DFS, some fun betting stuff we're going to get to, and then we're going to take a look ahead at 2025's majors. So I'm looking forward to a chilled out, fun, relaxing show, kind of just daydreaming of the future, baby.
We say that now, but I got this bottle of wine. So everyone knows I'm on Mounjaro, right? And so when you drink on Mounjaro, it makes you nauseous. So when I drink liquor, it makes me nauseous. When I drink beer, it makes me nauseous. Now I'm down to 232 pounds when I started at 278 at the beginning of the year. So it's working. It's working. I think the last 10 pounds have been drug related with the Mounjaro. The rest was actually me working and getting it out. But I'm going to celebrate, and I'm going to drink this whole bottle of wine probably during the entire show. And our show, once again, is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Mayo. Get yourself a deposit match up to $1,000 when you sign up. Of course, Underdog is going to was an awesome thing for us all year. We're going to go back to that again starting in the new year. But why don't we get started and look back at a few things? Byron's going to go and take you on a memory trip down 2024 for a bunch of different topics. Let's go.
Let's go, Kenny. As you open, I thought you were going to say, and the show's brought to you by Malbo.
Okay, I will say.
The best wine in the business.
So this is Mayo. This is a Pinot Noir. In my opinion, this is the best Pinot Noir you can get for under $20. Nice, really drinkable. You don't have to have food with it. Very, very easy, but it goes well with food as well. One of my favorites out here. So if you're out there and you're drinking wine, go get yourself a Mayo. You can get it for around $17. It's nice.
And it pairs amazingly with Mounjaro. So you have got all of the wonders of the world right there to you. All right, Kenny, we had the best round of 2024. One single round, we gained the most total strokes. Rapid fire.
Hideki, final round of Genesis.
Okay, close, no cigar. It was Nick Taylor, Waste Management Phoenix Open. Gained 10.89 strokes on the field when he shot the 60 over there. Incredible stuff. It's the 12th best round in the last 20 years. That round by Nick Taylor at the Waste Management. Of the last 20 years, the 12th best round.
He won 2 or 3 tournaments in a span of like 18 months. And after that Waste Management, he was basically garbage. Wait, did he win Canada, or was that?
Did not win. Bobby won. Bobby won Canada this year.
That's right.
It was before. Yeah. Hideki's shows up. It's one of the best 4th rounds ever. Biggest comeback of the year. Hideki Matsuyama. It's the least in my database. Hideki's win. The least amount of strokes gained through 3 rounds by a winner on the PGA Tour ever. So, his final round just was incredible. Hardly gained anything through the first 2. 2 players shot 59, Kenny. Who are they?
I don't remember.
Cameron Young, Hayden Springer. Cameron Young at the Travelers, Hayden Springer at the John Deere Classic. Congratulations to them. Then we go into Hunter Larson at the Sony Open, lost 18 strokes. He qualified into the Sony Open as a native Hawaiian, I believe. Shot an 88. Lost 18 strokes. That was the worst round of the tournament.
I will say one thing about the Sony Open this year. If Ben An is playing, he's going to win.
I believe you too. I will be betting him there again. Redemption season. I was on him last year. That's how my year started, Kenny. I had Sahith lip out to get into a playoff potentially with Chris Kirk at the Century, and then freaking at the Sony, he bricked that 4-footer. tough situations there. Best off the tee year, round of the year. Harrison Endicott at the Bolero. Gained 3.5 strokes on the field. Then the Open Championship at Tristan Lawrence gained 3.5, which was actually a better driving performance than Harrison Endicott. Just fun stuff over there. Okay, at the Open Championship, Aguri Iwasaki lost 10 strokes off the tee, shooting a 91 at the Open Championship this year. 10 strokes off the tee, lost. Boom. All right. Keith Mitchell had the best approach round of the year. He gained 6.6 at the American Express to finish not even inside, finished 9th over there, but gained 6.6. He had the best approach of the year. The worst approach belongs to Jake Knapp at the 3M. He lost 8 strokes at the 3M. Not ideal. And then Maverick McNeely, best around the green. He gained 4.7 at the Players. Amazing stuff there. Worst around the green, Kenny? Sam Barrister, US Open, lost 7.25. 7.25, shot at 84. So he just sucked it up, and then we're almost done with the putting stuff here. Nick Taylor's putter at the WM Phoenix Open gained 7.15 of the 10 that he gained. It was all the putter, baby. 7.15, yeah. It's incredible. So we've got some fun numbers over there. I like the 259 shout-outs. Nick Taylor was round of the year by a long shot. So what sticks to you? What sticks out to you there?
I mean, not seeing any of the big guys up there, but that makes sense because they're all playing these signature events at tough courses where the field is elite and it's hard to break away on something like that. The Nick Taylor win was pretty impressive. I think Hideki's win was one of my most memorable. That was my first outright of the season, if I'm not mistaken. So that was very, very nice. I think Hideki's in line for a very, very strong season coming up. Maybe another major this year. We shall see. Any major numbers from outside of the Open Championship? You got any more goodies out there of specific weird and wacky stats of 2024?
All right. We're just going to lead into the betting side of this because I have majors betting. It's going to prime us for the majors that we're going to speak about. So who gained the most money for you? Who won you the most total money betting wins, top 5s, top 10s, top 20s in the majors?
In the majors?
Yes.
I didn't hit anybody at the majors this year, I do not think. So I would probably bet. I know I hit Hideki each way, and he was top. He hit the majors somewhere, either at the PGA or something.
He's not on the list.
He's not. Who was it?
Xander Schauffele, if you were betting to win $100 in every of those markets,
I thought you were asking me specifically.
No,
you just meant
this
overall.
is overall.
Oh, okay.
This
Well, it's probably Xander's won twice.
Xander's won twice, exactly. But Bryson, second, and Colin Morikawa, without winning, was the third most profitable major better. I do have a bet for you later on in the show on Colin Morikawa.
I have Morikawa bet too for later on as well.
Let's go. The 3 worst bets to have placed in majors: Brooks Koepka, Rory McIlroy, and believe it or not, Scottie Scheffler. Scottie not showing up at the US Open was a big deal. So those guys lost you some money in those markets.
Here's the thing about Koepka, okay? I still believe in my strategy. So after he won his last major, my strategy was I'm going to bet $50 on Koepka at every single major that he plays. His average number is probably going to be around 20-1. And for the next 5 years, I was going to do that. So if he does it for the next 5 years and you put $50 in every single major, that's 20 majors, $1,000. He hits once, you break even. He wins twice, you're up, if $50 a unit, you're up, 20 units right there. So I still think that's good. I still think he's got majors in him. Last year was not great. We'll see if he can get back in that mind frame with, Bryson sort of taking over. It could be, I know they played well together. They didn't play well together. They played together at that showdown thing. But, he likes being that alpha dog, and it's going to come it's either going to come back at some point in time or he's done. And I don't think he's done. Okay. So I would still make that bet. I bet him at every single major. And so starting with the last one he won was the 2023 PGA, right? Was his last major, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been 6 majors since then. So he has 14 majors to go to win one so I can win my money back. So I still believe in him. I still think he has that alpha dog in him. He knows he's at the top of the majors list of existing current players. If Rory gets one and he ties it, I think that's what might be the catalyst for Koepka to come back and start getting in that right mind frame once again.
I have a Rory bet for you as well, which we'll get to later on in the show. But speaking of winners, Kenny, Scottie Scheffler won you almost $400 betting to win 100 this year. Then next up, Robert McIntyre and Arsene Eckroat were the two next best outright bets this year. The three worst outright bets that you have to now bet twice to make your money back, that's how much you've invested in these guys. Colin Morikawa, Ludwig, and Rory.
Well, Rory had one win on tour, right? He won.
He did, but he's so short. His odds are so short that you're just throwing so much money at his tickets, and he just didn't get enough done.
Did you count the Zurich?
No, that's not a golf tournament, in my opinion.
I understand that. Hey, you can bet on it. You can bet on it.
Sure. So, top 5 market, Kenny. Who won you the most money in the top 5 market betting to win $100 per tournament? It's not Scottie Scheffler or Xander Schauffele. Have you got a guess who rattled off the most wins, the most profit for the top 5 market this year?
I mean, was it Kawa? He finished top 5 a bunch.
No. Think about more recent success in the full swing kind of thing.
Man. I have no idea.
Griesemann.
Oh, wow. That makes sense.
Betting to win $100 per top 5, Max Griesemann won you $438 in that department. The 3 worst top 5 bets in 2024, Max, Homer, Eric, Cole, Corey, Connors, and I'll just throw in Jordan Spieth as well. Those boys lost you almost $300 each. It was not a good betting world, especially Eric Cole and Max Homer were way down there. So no dice for those two guys. Corey Connors, almost profitable in the top 10 market, but the top 5s, he just couldn't ever get inside the top 5. So I'm wondering what he gets up to in that world. Top 10s, Scottie Scheffler, Xander Schauffele. Those two guys, obviously, some interesting names. Max Griesemann, Sam Burns. Sam Burns was the 4th best top 10 bet you could have freaking gone with, and then he lost to Minwoo Lee in a goddamn major.
Yeah, he had
beat Minwoo Lee.
Low-key, pretty decent season last year.
Yeah, he was very impressive. The worst top 10 bets you could have made, Rory McIlroy, Victor Hovland, Max Homer, and Tom Kim. Again, no dice, lost you over $500 betting to win 100 last season. Top 20 market, Xander. Then, because Scottie struggled at the BMW Championship at a very small field, Tony Finau is next up. He lost in the top 5, top 10, and win markets to Tony Finau, but won you $607 in the top 20 market. So if you're going to be
betting majors or all tournaments?
All tournaments.
All tournaments.
All tournaments. Tony Finau lost you money. Top 5, top 10, win. $607 profit in the top 20 market. He's T20 Tony, baby. If you're going to be betting one bet all year, just bet Tony Finau. Now, I don't know about his knee. We'll see how that works out, but thought I'd just mention that. So Big Mike has got us up with the graphics as you guys have been watching, most likely. So thought I'd just share those with you. Some interesting things. You need to see the names that you've been betting too much in the red. Like Max Homer, Rory top 10s, those kind of bets you got to probably stay away from going forward. But I figured I'd share with y'all because it's interesting to me. So those are my kind of weird things, Kenny. 2 golfers lost DFS points in 2024. If you started them, it would have been better if you just rostered 5 people. There were 2 golfers in the DFS slate that lost 1.5 and half a point in 2024. Who are they?
For the entire year?
No, in one tournament.
Oh. I don't know. Kisner?
Negative. John Daly lost you 1.5 strokes at the PGA Championship, and Ernie Els lost you half a stroke at the Open.
So guys who aren't even on tour, I get that. Anybody else that was close by that's on tour?
Anyone that's close by on tour, I can take a look here right now. DFS data, let's go here. Finishing points, total points. We're going to look for some negatives. Okay, so it was John Daly, and we've got it's Dubai, you open the RSM. Davis Love at the RSM scored 0 points.
Again, not a
He's not on the tour.
Who's the worst tour player that plays
Taylor
on
Montgomery
tour? There we go.
At both the Valero and the CJ Cup scored you 2.5 and 3 points.
I mean, that's pretty hard because you're getting half a point for a par, or a full point for a par. I forget how the scoring works. Yeah, that's crazy. And Taylor Montgomery was somebody who, had a little bit of juice, like not more than a couple of years ago. He sort of fell off, man. Definitely.
All right, and then I've got some DFS salary tiers for you guys. And now in DFS, you get dollars per point scored. That's what people use to determine the value of a golfer, right? You're taking the amounts of points they scored and you divide them by their salary. So I've got the average points scored, average salary for these guys in the 6K range, Kenny. Who was the best play on average in the $6,000 range? Dollars per point.
Nick Dunlop.
No. Max McGreevy. Sorry. He averaged 100.7 points as a $6,900 average golfer. So he was sneaky good. In the 7K range.
Wait, explain this to me one more time. What do you mean he averaged 109 points? So every time he was a 6K golfer, his average was 109?
100.75. He only has 2 events. That's also my bad. So let's skip that.
Okay.
I filtered on the wrong thing. Let's just leave him alone. In the 7K range, though, I've got guys that are all at least having played 7 tournaments. Dollars per point scored. In the $7,000 range on average, who was the best value play all year?
Bobby Mack.
No. Mackenzie Hughes was the guy. He knocked you out with 100.3 points, $103 per point. In the 8K range, Corey Connors is next up. 9K range, Tony Finau. And then Xander outdid Scottie a touch just because he was so much cheaper, but it was only by 0.2. So it was a pretty close situation. I figured I'd throw out some random DFS tidbits over there too.
So Tony was the most owned points, right? Is what you're saying. So what a strange year for him, right? I mean, if you look at his ball striking numbers, they were incredible, right? Yep. Incredible. And I don't remember. I mean, he might have been in contention a couple of times.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
his putting and short game must have been horrible for the year because I was looking through his numbers and he was real solid from a ball striking perspective.
So consistent, second best top 20 bet you could have made. It translates to DFS points, top 20. Just top 20ing all the time. You get all those points, making cuts, doing it well. So interesting stuff. Scottie Scheffler was 52% owned at the Texas Children's Open. Highest owned option all year, 52%.
Is that the one he lost to Riley?
That's the one he lost to Steven Jaeger.
Okay. So, he was running out to Steven. Yeah, Jaeger and Riley were the 2 guys that took down Scottie this year. So, yeah.
What a world. I mean, how are those the 2 guys after everyone? Wyndham,
let's talk about Scottie.
Yeah.
Let's take a little segue here. And let's talk about Scottie with his new documentary that came out. And people have been giving me a little bit of shit because I'm just not a fan of him. I recognize the fact that he's the best golfer out there. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But first off, I think he's too boring. Secondly, I think you can't be that perfect. I feel like at some point in time, something's going to come out. And I maybe not. Maybe he is because I've met his dad, and his dad is the nicest, most caring, friendliest person I've ever met. And if you grew up in that type of household, then maybe everything Scottie is about is 100% legit. It's just the cynic in me that is I just can't believe that someone is that fucking perfect. And it's sort of annoying. Do you remember back in the day? I don't know if you're a big NASCAR fan back in the day, right? Jeff Gordon was one of the best drivers in the 90s and stuff like that. Everyone hated him because he was the best. And I sort of feel that way about Scheffler, at least for me. I know a lot of people still like him, but he's just so boring. And I can't get it. He doesn't help the game, in my opinion. I mean, look at the showdown. I mean, nothing, right? No eyeballs on that. Yeah. Is Scottie bad for the game of golf?
I think he needs a rival that can turn him into the antagonist. For instance, Bryson. Now, if Bryson was on the PGA Tour, the people adore him.
Rahm
and he
is the one that I miss because Rahm wants to battle his ass every week. I think you're 100% right on that. He needs some type of rival. Without a rivalry and him just dominating the sport the way he does with no personality, no juice.
And the closest option is Xander, who's got even less juice on the course.
I think it's detrimental to the game. I mean, I'm not blaming him for it. You know what I'm saying? He's doing what he needs to do. But, like, we see golf is in this place right now where it's not healthy. And I don't think he helps. I think he hurts. Again, there's nothing he can do about it, right? He should go out and try and dominate and win every event like he's doing at the moment, right? But when you look at it from a broad perspective, he's like the worst superstar that golf could have at this current moment when everything is going sort of downhill.
The best role model in the world, but superstar,
That's not what people, people still love Tiger, and he's the worst fucking role model out there.
Yeah,
right? I know. They want to see dominance, but they also want to see some type of like personality, some type of attitude, something like that. He just doesn't have it. Now I've heard stories where his roommate, where there was one Corn Ferry Tour guy who stayed with him in Texas for a while, and he said Scottie would get so angry at losing board games he'd flip the table. Like, why doesn't that Scottie come out? Like, I want to see that type of Scottie. Like, that would be awesome. That would bring something to his personality, to his aura, that would, make him attractive to watch.
Well, you've seen that with the shot that he took, and he's like, "How does that go uphill or whatever?" I don't know what that clip was, but when he hit it and it went over like almost like 20 yards, and he's like, "How does that not come back? How does that not come back?" I think that was the most viral thing he's done this year.
It was
other than getting arrested.
Championship.
Yeah,
other than getting arrested. But I mean, there's also things where he's sort of he's. I've heard rumors that he's been yelling somewhat abusive to caddies in the past and stuff like that. So that's another thing that's in the back of my head where, like, is this guy really this way, or is it just for the cameras? And I think more than likely he is, because he just seems like that type of guy. And I met his father, and having that type of role model in your life will make you be a good person. I mean, Scottie Scheffler's dad, one of the best people I ever met. So more than likely that's the way he truly is, but the cynic in me just doesn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? And I also think,
does he need to struggle? Does he need to struggle so that he can have like a comeback? Like when we know what he can do and he's not doing it, that's when you probably see the worst version of him, which might be the most entertaining.
I don't know. I think a rival would be a good thing. Someone that can go and go toe-to-toe with him week to week, that we can see. Xander could be that guy, but I mean, we lost a lot of that when we went to live. So what's your take on Scottie? Like, I know he's the greatest player out there. What he does on the course is simply amazing. What he did this past year was legendary stuff. He's just boring, and he's not good for the growing of the game, in my opinion. Like, I'd rather have some asshole prick out there who fucking is an asshole who can go out there. I think that would be better. People hate goes a long way.
He's right? The Christ, and you need the Antichrist.
Something.
But he can be the Antichrist if we got the right, like, people's hero, but we just, all of the villains that could have become adored, Liv, Cypher, they chose all the perfect guys. That's the problem. The tour lost way more personality than skill, but that's what made the product fun. And unfortunately, we don't have those guys. I mean, Xander's not the option. Maybe Rory, he provides a lot more pizzazz. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he can get on a run and start taking Scottie's lunch money, then we're talking business, because people tune in for Rory too.
They do.
And he's the closest to skill-wise. That's the problem. Like, Scottie is so fucking good. It's not easy to just, like, rival this guy. Like, the level of consistency he plays golf at is fucking insane, dude. It's so impressive. So
one guy brought up a Pete Sampras comparison, and I thought that was a pretty good comparison, except for the fact Pete had Andre, right? Mm-hmm. He had Agassi. He had the total opposite as the next best player and rival. right? And that's why it made that time in tennis very, very interesting. Fun little side note, in 1986, I was in a Nike commercial with Andre Agassi. It was in the Super Bowl. I used to be a big-time tennis player. It was a Nike commercial, and it was the way the commercial went was it showed like black and white, like kids like learning tennis, like real, like old school, shitty, like boring way, and then it would flip to like Andre teaching a class and the kids running around going all crazy and stuff. I was in the boring group. So that was my first time on TV. I try and find it on YouTube at some point in time, but it's definitely happened, Andre, because my tennis coach at that point in time basically was an Andre Agassi twin. And at the Montclair Country Club down in Woodbridge, Virginia, where I first learned how to play tennis and golf. But anyways, I digress. Let's move on. Keep on going. Let's have this recap of 2024 with your crazy stats.
Recap's pretty much done, but I'm looking at data golf here, and Scottie's true strokes gained last year is the best non-Tiger season since 1983.
Look, like I said, the game, there's no doubt he's the best. I just wish he just brought more and just had some type of juice. He's just so, you see like glimpses of like him sort of being like a prick. Like you see like in press conferences, especially like recently, right? You see like sort of glimpses where he'll make some off comment or some funny comment to a reporter and stuff like that. We've seen that recently. I just need more of that to come out. What it reminds me of, like a less likable Phil. Like when Phil first started and he was coming out and he was an extremely popular guy, he was able to do that. The way I thought he did it was, it didn't seem real to me, right? It seemed like it was all manufactured, like it was all staged. Now, for Scottie, it doesn't really feel that way. It just feels super boring, right? I mean, like, just super boring, no juice, no star power. Like, and in a time in golf where it's having this horrible time, where the ratings are down, where they're losing fans, it's just a horrible time for him to be the top dog. I'm sorry. You can't, I won't go against this argument. It's just a horrible, horrible time for him to be a top dog. And you can blame Liv as well because of the fracture. Of course, it's a humongous deal. But I need other people to come through. And I don't see it happening.
It's a new year, Kenny. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. I'm pretty much done with my review. I've rattled off a bunch of metrics there. I'm excited to chat some majors and look ahead, yeah.
All right, but before I move on, why don't we go to a commercial break here. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I personally like the pick'em games. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a pick'em entry. Can also make rivals picks, which pits 2 players against each other. Now, the reason I like the pick'em games is because of these things called scorchers. There's these little chili peppers next to the golfers' names, and if you click on that, it adds to your multiplier, so you can win even more money. Sign up today with promo code Mayo and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special. Must be 18 or over and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, so first, let's talk about the majors for next year. Of course, who we think is going to win, who we think can contend, some long shots, and let's just go in order. Let's start with the Masters for this year. I'm going to go ahead. I mean, obviously, Scheffler's the main choice. This tournament is perfect for Scottie. I would pick Scottie in this. I think he's going to win. I think 4-1 or 3-1, whatever, might even be worth it. Just because this course suits him so well with that little draw that he can hit, right to left. Definitely, that course definitely favors right to left. It definitely favors misses on the left side, which is what Scottie does. He can pound it out there. One thing that people don't realize is how long Scottie is. Like, you watch that showdown, like he's up there with Bryson a lot of the time. I mean, this dude can really, really pound the rock. He looks like he changed his putting stroke once again to that claw. It looked really, it didn't look great at the showdown. Rory basically played like it was, a meaningless event in Dubai once again at the showdown. We went off the and went wild, played his ass off, looked great. So Scheffler is the easy pick here, and I think he's the smart pick for at least the Masters, because I expect him to win 5-6 of these by the time his career is over.
Yeah.
Right. This is just his event. X had a great year last year. He's had good finishes. Rahm is going to try and, come back. Last year wasn't the best by his standards. Again, he's the guy that I think specifically would be a perfect rival for Scottie Scheffler, because Rahm is that alpha dog. He wants to be the best out there. His move to live it seems very questionable to me now, because of just what we know about Jon Rahm. To me, it felt like he might have gotten a little bit duped. Like he thought there was going to be more of a chance of the merger happening quicker, or at least, getting to play those PGA guys more than the 4 events per year. I don't know if that's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen with that, but I want Rahm to come back and be Scottie's rival. I think that would be great. You know what I'm saying? And then that would probably give Scottie more juice, especially with American fans having a rival from across the pond, not from our country. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what, who whoops us in the Ryder Cup every year. I think he could be that guy. And if there's some way we can get more than these 4 events and have Rahm and Scottie, more than those 4 weeks of the year, I think that would be good to golf. Better than Bryson, better than Koepka. I think Rahm is the guy that we need to be the villain to Scottie's protagonist. And hopefully at some point in time we can get that. But right now it's not likely. It's not happening. So we got to get these 4 majors. I want Rahm to contend. If we can get Rahm and Scheffler on Sunday battling it out and Rahm wins, I think that's way better for the game than anything else. That
would be what, the last 4 Masters that have been won by 2 people then?
Yeah.
Then they could imagine they show up again the following year to go for the 3rd one.
That's what we need. I mean, we need some type of rivalry like that. And I think you're 100% correct. And now, Rory, of course, he's trying to get his monkey off his back. Oberg, runner-up last year. Another guy who just comes out first time plays and isn't even phased. Hopefully he does better on Sundays than he did in the back half of the year. But I think he has a chance now. Outside of the elite guys, how about you? Let's go to you, Byron. Of these elite golfers, like, top 20 in the world, other than Scottie, I mean, who do you think has a good chance to take Scottie down at the Masters this year? Let's just go elite, because I'm going to go in different tiers.
Xander. I just think he's just got it now. Like the majors, I mean, he just won the last major, 2 last year. He's found his stride. He's got the same personality as Scottie, which unfortunately, Kenny, the best players in the world have this like even kill, no shits, I don't care about anybody else apart from myself, but in a good way kind of vibe. So it sucks that they are that way, but I think, you're getting triple the odds almost than what Scottie's worth there. So I think there's a solid value there at Xander's side of things. He's finished pretty close to winning this thing. When Lindeque won, he should have won it, right? So,
yeah.
And before we get going with this, Kenny, I do want to share this trend that I've noticed with majors, and it's got to do with the last couple major winners have done insane things. You have to either have finished first or second pretty much to win a major. Now, it sounds dumb to say that you have to finish first, but major winners win majors, right? But most of those guys finish top 5 or second in a major. The last 4 years, we've got just, if Mike's showing this graphic right now, look at all those first and seconds that are in the Masters and the Open Championship. The winner of the Open Championship, dating back to 2012, has not finished worse than second in a major prior to winning the Open Championship. So you have to have finished first or second in a major before you win the Open Championship, dating back to 2012. What
about Harman?
Harman has a second place finish.
Oh, at another major?
Yeah, a while ago, but he had one. So it's not necessarily like super close. Ideally, you want more recent success. But if you've just been in the mix with the second place finish, it seems to give you something to win these tournaments. I was shocked when I saw Harman had a second.
Well, I mean, the one thing we notice nowadays is it's a lot harder for some rando to come in, a Michael Campbell or Todd Hamilton or somebody like that. Those are very, very hard to find. They're not happening, basically, is what it comes down to. It's all these elite guys, the best of the best. And, outside of, Harman and Wyndham Clark that one year, but Wyndham was playing very, very well leading up to that event also. Those are the two that off the top of my head that might seem a little bit off when it comes to it. But, the last major winners this past year was Xander twice, Scheffler, and
Bryson.
Bryson. I mean, studs. The year before that was Rahm, Clark. Who won the PGA? Koepka, right? It was Koepka and Rahm, and then Harman and Clark, which are two little outliers when it comes down to the year before that. What, Cam Smith, right?
At the Open,
Scheffler again.
PGA. Who the hell won that?
It was Mito. It was Justin Thomas.
JT won the PGA again.
And then the U.S. Open that year was Rahm?
Was that at Torrey 2022?
I don't remember who it was. Anyways, it's all these elite guys is what you're seeing. Yeah. And it's tough to bet anyone outside of 35-1 when it comes down to the majors. I mean, just doesn't happen anymore because these guys at the top are so good. It's hard to find those long shots when it comes down to it. But keep going.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much all I wanted to say because I think it's going to just be it's the top dogs, So I think the Masters tiers are really, really short, especially having the course history that Masters has.
Yeah, I think Scheffler's going to dominate that forever. But let's go through the middle tier guys. I mean, Sungjae is the Korean hope. I think a Korean is going to contend at a major this year. And I think it's going to be Sungjae at the Masters and Ben On at the PGA Championship. I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're both going to contend. I don't think they're going to win. We're going to see these guys contend, I think, at some point in time. And Sungjae just has that history. He plays extremely well there. I think he's a guy that can make some noise when it comes down to it. Cantlay, he's not getting younger, right? I mean, we've always thought this guy is a guy who could win a major. Can he do it this year? Finau, another guy. He's in the mid to late 30s. His time is running short. His year last year, ball striking was incredible. Do you think Tony can ever win a major? I don't know. I don't think so.
Patrick Candy, Tony Finau have tons of top five. So you've got 5. Patrick Candy's got 2. Neither of them have finished second in a major yet. So I'm going to need to see at least a second place finish from either of these guys before I go there. But it just doesn't, if you're not Candy just isn't going to just randomly show up and win a major after the stuff he's been up to the last little while. He threw away the FedEx St. Jude. Lost to Lucas Glover. That was the last time he ever really had a chance to win something.
Well, he was in the lead in the back 9 of the Masters, a couple of years ago? 2-3 years ago? I mean, he has the talent. We know it. Can it come through? Because I always thought that Cantlay was better than Xander until Xander recently for Xander. And it's just not shaping out that way. I got a couple of shockers. One guy, I think, that can make some noise, and I bet him top 20, including ties, at all 4 majors. Patrick Reed, 50-1. I know it sounds sort of crazy, right?
Top 20.
Top 20, yes. And so, Masters, he's won. He performs well every year, even if his game is bad. The PGA Championship at, what's it called? At
Quail
Hollow. He's had success at Quail Hollow in the past. Oakmont's the one you got to worry about. Oakmont.
I like Oakmont for him. I actually like it because it's not like a bomb. We'll get to Oakmont.
It's not.
Yeah. I like it for him.
Now, he has to be able to get into those events first. And I think he's going to do that with a strong finish at the Masters, right? And also, you see him playing other worldwide events. He's one of the few guys, him and Joaquin Niemann, are playing other events just so they can get world golf ranking points. He actually won in Hong Kong a couple of months ago
Yep.
in the fall. He had a couple of top 15 finishes at the end of the Euro Tour season. He's finished in the top 15. I think the last time it was at Whale Hollow. And then he also finished top 10, I think, or top 10 at Royal Portrush the last time the Open Championship was played there. Yeah. So he has good finishes at these events, except Otmar. Otmar, he was dead last time, and in 2016. So that's the one I'm sort of worried about. But I just have a feeling because he's.
What is the number though, Kenny?
It's 60, only 50. It's 50 to 1. 50 to 1
or a top 20.
Top 20, yes. So it's not horrible, but it's not great because I don't even think he's in all of them. So that would be one issue when it comes down to. But
it's almost correlated though. Like you said, he can play if he top 20s. He's in the next few potentially. You know, like depends on what he
finishes. If he finishes high enough on the Asian Tour, I think they have some people from there that can get in based upon where they finish. So maybe that's the way he gets in, and he's getting in those WGR points. What about Min Woo?
No, I can't speak about anyone else until I speak about Cam Smith at the Masters at 33 to 1. I mean,
about Cam Smith.
If we're starting to see him play better golf, I think he played quite nicely in Australia to end the year. He just needs to show some form showing up to the Augusta because he's going to win a green jacket there. And Kenny, is an auto bet for me at 33. Like, he's won the Open Championship and obviously has a second place elsewhere as well, I think, at the Masters. So this dude has got, that's his hollowed ground. I think if he were to choose any major to win, you trade 2 Open Championships for 1 green jacket.
I think I would wait to bet him because it seems like he takes his vacation time very seriously. Like he said last year, that break, and he came back, he wasn't prepared for the Masters, is what he said. And I think he's going to try and do that to get more prepared for it. But I think if he struggles in the first couple of live events, you might get him at a better number.
I have not bet it, and I do agree, though. Yeah.
When it comes to future bets, I think the future market's dead nowadays. Unless you're going to get somebody who's a long shot, who you think is going to do well in the beginning of the year or something like that. But when it comes to like top guys or even like the middle tier guys, I mean, those numbers just aren't good enough at that point. And then when we saw last year, the reset went the week before, a lot of those shorter numbers dropped. They went longer because it's just the way, I guess, the books did it. I don't know the reason why. I'm not a gambling expert. I just like to gamble. But yeah, I think Cam, again, I think him and Rahm, I didn't like their moves to live. I think
it makes sense for Cam, but their games just took a massive ding.
Yeah, I think it did too. I think Cam just likes some partying and just show him his boat and be in Australia the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a little bit worried about that. But another guy, sneaky, has a Canadian, Mike Weir, Corey Connors. I know you're saying he doesn't, have that many top finishes, but he loves Augusta. He plays well there every year. And I think the way Canadian golf is going, he's seen the growth of Canadian golf. He's seen his guys around him winning all these events. I think he might be the most talented one out there when it comes down to it. Him and Pendrith, I think. And so if a Canadian's going to win, it's going to be Connors at Augusta. I'm not going to bet it. But, I mean, it's just another guy you just keep an eye out when it comes down to it. Who's your winner of the Masters?
Scottie, but I mean, if it's not Scottie, fuck.
I'm going Scottie.
Just go with Scottie.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going Scottie, but I'm not picking him for anything else. I'm picking Scottie because it's the obvious pick. He's going to win a bunch. It's going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind. So Scottie's my pick for that. Now, PGA Quail, go ahead.
Before we do that, I do want to show a future that I have for all 4 majors as well. I hit Xander last year in all 4 majors, so that was good at a very similar number. Colin Morikawa in majors. He's finished T26 or better 8 times. in the last 10 majors. So you can get Colin 14-1 for a top 20 in all 4 majors, and then 66-1 for a top 10. He did it last year. He finished top 20 in all 4 of them. He's just been wrapping off top 20 finishes like a complete savage. It's been a fantastic run of golf for him. The only issue is the Open Championship, which is the last one on the schedule. So you can almost hedge out if you wanted somehow, can find a way to hedge out against him there or cash out if you're not comfortable with the Open being his final thing. But I fancy his chances big time in the first 3.
Is that top 20?
Top 20 at 14-1 and top 10 is 66-1 over at Bet365.
I like that. I think he's winning a major, and I think he's going to win the U.S. Open. We'll talk about that in a second. But the PGA Championship is at Quail Hollow. It's going to be long. Grass is going to be tall. Success there. JT, he's won his majors there. He's won there before Wells Fargo. Rory, of course. Rory loves this event. Loves Wells Fargo. Loves Quail Hollow. Dominates there. Won this past year. I hit him at there 9-1. It seems like this is one that's like shaping up just for Rory. And then also Xander. There's another guy who's, won last year. Those are the 3 I think that I would say is like the top guys based upon their track record and what it comes down to specifically on that course. Now, what we've also seen is a lot of guys who win their first major or guys coming up that we know that will be stars getting their big-time major win here. We saw Justin Thomas do it a few years ago, but 2017, whatever, last time it was here at the PGA. We've seen last year, Xander, of course, who won his first major here. We've seen guys break out. Guys like that, Oberg, Hovland, Cantlay, Finau. Out of those 4 guys, who do you think has the best chance at this course?
Hovland, I think. But, Kenny, I don't want to speak about anybody else other than Rory McIlroy. I've bet him at 11-1. I'm in.
It just makes sense. But the guy I'm taking here is Bryson. The reason why is because these fairways aren't like the easiest to hit. It's going to be tight. The grass is going to be gnarly, 4.5, 5-inch thick rough. It's that type of an event where people are all going to miss the fairway. It's pretty like laid out pretty easily, not too many crazy doglegs, not too many shot shaping opportunities, and it's going to be long. They play at like 7,500 during the PGA Tour, probably be like 7,700 or something like that when we get down to it. And if he could just bomb it out there, hack his wedges out of that rough, this is the event I think I see Bryson winning this year. Other guys, when it comes down to it, anybody else catch your eye for this PGA Championship at Theegala?
Theegala hasn't had a second place. I can't go to him yet. I would, but I make a rule for myself, Kenny, and I bet these majors I only bet guys that have second place finishes.
First or second. So that's the only way you're going to do it.
Correct. The top 2.
It makes sense. It makes sense. I'm going to go Bryson. Who do you think wins? You're good. You already got Rory, right?
Rory's won 4 majors. He's won at Quail 4 times.
Yep.
This is the holy Pentic Trinity. Like it's the whatever you want to call it. He's going to win his 5th major, and his 5th time at Quail is going to be it. Like,
I would love for him to win his 5th major there, and then have Koepka come in at Oakmont and win there. That would be the best 1-2 punch for golf there possibly is. But let's go to Oakmont. Let's go to the U.S. Open. This is a tough track. 2016 was the last time he played here. Dustin Johnson, he was your winner. So you think, bomber, long off the tee. Well, look at these other names who finished in the top 12.
Yeah.
Jim Furyk, Scott Piercy, Kevin Na, Zach Johnson, Jason Duffner, all finished in the top 15.
Brandon Grace.
Brendan Grace down there. The last time it was at Oakmont. This is going to be a tough track. If it's not wet, if it's not soft, if it's firm and fast, you're going to see single-digit under par winning. If there's a little bit of wind, you're going to see barely anybody under par. It's going to be something like that. You're going to have to hit fairways. Your short game is going to have to be good. Your putting, It would have to be good. Your iron play. It's going to test every facet. The one guy that I think is going to win, he's my only pick for this, Collin Morikawa. I think Morikawa wins. And the reason why I say this is last year his irons weren't that great. But he had his best year ever putting. He had his best year ever with his short game. He improved on those two weaknesses. And maybe he tried a little too hard and lost a little bit of his approach game. But the approach game is going to come back. He still hits every fairway out there. I think Morikawa wins this one. He should have won this past year. And at some point in time, it's all going to come together. I think it happens at the U.S. Open. I think he has a big year. I think he has multiple wins with a major. And I think his major's going to come at Oakmont at the U.S. Open. Who do you like?
Kenny, I would be fascinated to see that because it just doesn't seem like it's on. Colin's done nothing, dude, for a long time. I mean, he won the Zozo. What was his last win before that?
Well, I know, but he's, like you said, he's been top 5, top 10s. He's been rigging it out. And the reason why he hasn't been able to get that win is because his iron game just was a little bit off. It wasn't the normal iron game, but he improved drastically. He's top 10 in around the green, in the last 100 rounds on tour, right?
He's very good in short game when it comes to majors as well. That's when he steps it up.
And you're going to need that short game. You're going to miss those greens. It's a tough-ass course. You're going to have to hit all these fairways. I like Morikawa to win that event, and I think he might be the only bet, and I might just put a huge sum on.
Just double down on him.
Just go wild.
What about like Tommy Fleetwood at a venue like this? Scrappy, accurate. It's the Collin Morikawa kind of same situation. I mean, the guy contends in majors. I think he's got a second.
Yeah.
It's 40 to 1.
He's got a second at the next major that we're about to talk about.
Yeah. So,
I mean, if he's going to win something, it would make sense. Like that type of like grinded out type course where the scoring is not that high. Yes, I think you would have a chance. It just depends. Tommy is so fickle when it comes down to it. And maybe, I don't know. So you like Tommy? Who do you like?
Well, as a long shot at 40 to 1, I'm not committing to it right now, but I'm looking at guys that are super accurate, and Colin's one of them, obviously. The rest Ludwig, but I think I'm going to have to see Ludwig's around the green game get better. He chipped himself out of the US Open last year. If the closer to par a tournament is, the more you have to chip. He's not the best chipping, I feel like he's more of a bomb and gouge kind of guy than anything else. So just looking at those profiles, Tommy Fleetwood seems like a dude that I'd probably lean into, in that department. So, but geez, it's another great venue for Scottie. He's super accurate as well. Like of the guys at the top, he hits the ball straighter than anyone as well.
It would definitely make sense. Make sense. All right, so let's talk about the final major, Open Championship, Royal Portrush. The last time it was played here, the winner was
Shane Lowry.
And also, looking back, that 2019 pod that we did for the Open Championship was our most listened to pod ever. We had Ben Coley on, and Ben actually tipped Shane Lowry that week, and so did Tambo. Both of them had them. I did not because I was an idiot, but our most ever listened to podcast. So cool little tidbit right there. I do love Ben Coley. I think he hates me. I don't think he likes me, but it's okay. We have differences of opinion sometimes, but
can't love everybody, Kenny.
What?
You can't love everybody.
I do. I love everybody. I love Ben. His information out there is unbelievable. I think he had 10 outrights this year. He was up like 300 units or some crazy shit. I was up like 60. Yeah, 60 units this year, I think.
I just took a dump on you.
Right around $3,000. So yeah, 60 units, $50 a unit for me. And I was so happy about that. I can't imagine winning like 300 units. That's wild. But let's talk about the Open Championship. The last time it was played was 2019. Shane Lowry won. 11 of the top 15 played predominantly on the European Tour or had massive experience playing Euro Tour events. Really a true short game, links type, European style golf course. It's going to be based upon the weather, But Shane went out there, just dominated, won by about 6 strokes, I think.
Yeah.
A couple of guys really fell off. I think Justin Rose was second going into the final round, shot, I think, 80 out there. No one really came through on Sunday, and then Shane ran away with it. Rory shot 61 here as a teenager. Koepka was in the top 10. Bobby Mack was in there. I think if I remember correctly, I think he was in the top 15, if I remember. It could be another tournament, but Fleetwood, runner-up, Rose in contention. But the one guy I think, and I think a lot of people might be on him just like me, is going to be Tyrrell Hatton. Hatton, I think Hatton's move to live affected him least out of anyone ever. Because the thing about Hatton is he doesn't care who he's going up against or what. He's going up against himself mentally every round.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter, like, what golf he's playing, what course he's playing, who he's playing against. That shit doesn't matter to him. It's all in his head for him. And we saw him improve last year. We still had those outbursts. We still had all that stuff. But when it comes to, like, the game that he had, last year was his best year. He was amazing, really. Both in live and in majors, he did pretty well. I expect him to come back, and I think live could be good for him, not having to deal with that stress on the PGA Tour, which will lead him to be a basket case. You know what I'm saying? Going out there on live, knowing that the stakes are a little bit lower, I think that's good for him. And it's good for his mental. If he can keep his head straight, I think he can go out there, and I think he can pull a Cam Smith and beat Rory at the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. He would be my pick this year. If we're looking at other guys, I mean, Tom, if he can improve his game, this would be the type of event that he would, I think, do well at.
Tom Kim.
Yeah, another guy who I think could do well if he gets his game, and another guy that get his mental back to where it was. Who do you like?
I like Tom Kim. I like him a lot. I think, am I seeing an 80-1 on Tom Kim at DraftKings right now for a... That seems wrong compared to everything else. So if that is correct, I will be jumping on that right away. Second place finish 2 years ago at the Open Championship. So he has a top 2 at this event. Not this course, but the event. And guess what? He plays well at the Genesis Scottish Open quite often. He seems linksy, dude. Like growing up wherever he did, I think it translates really well. So I like Tom Kim a lot as well, Kenny. And Tyrrell Hatton, some of his best major finishes have come at the Open Championship as well, just to back you there a little bit as well.
Wasn't he 6th last time?
His best finish as a major is a 5th at a previous Open, but 6th at Portrush. Correct.
Yeah, one of the best. I think he was like the best, other than Bobby Mack, inside the top 10. He had the best Sunday last time in 2019. I think he finished -2. To bring himself into the top 6. Patrick Reed was 10th that year. Bobby Mack was up there in 6th place. I think he's another guy who can do well here. What would his number be? It's probably got to be around Tom Kim. I think that might be a future bet that you would want to think about, just because, he's got the wins. He's got the confidence. If the number is large enough, he might be a guy to think about getting into a future bet, especially for the Open Championship. Let's see what he is.
Who's this, Kenny?
Open. Bobby Mack.
40.
See, I don't even like that number. Really?
Yeah. And he's only got a top 10 in majors. Doesn't even have a top 5 yet. But
his best finish was here.
Yes. So that does help. It definitely does.
And he has the confidence, right? He's won, and he's a proven winner now on tour. He's got his tour card. He's got that juice. And I hate him, but he's a good player. Another guy that I think can perform is Koepka's going to win something. I think one of these last 2 courses, Oakmont or the Open Championship, I think that would be on his radar. Finau, again, another guy who played well. I think he was 3rd or 4th the last time he finished at the Open Championship. Any other guys that you're looking at when it comes to it at the Open Championship of this year? I
just confirmed that Tom Kim is 80-1, Kenny, on DraftKings. There's There's 40s out there everywhere. I mean, that number's just wrong. So I'm in on 80-1. I mean, you don't even change your card isn't even changed at an 80-1 ticket. So in there at the Open, Portrush. I mean, Shane seems like a guy that I wouldn't mind betting the top 40 or the top 20 on at every major as well, because
I wouldn't mind betting him at this event. Again, I mean,
why not?
40-1, it just suits his game. He dominated last time. He's got to have good feelings. 40-1 doesn't seem horrible for that.
It is the only. Every other book has got him at 29 or lower. So 40-1 at DraftKings for Shane Lowry is a solid number there too. I also think with the Open, you got to like take attention to the wind and the weather. So futures at the Open, unless they're like massive numbers, like the Tom Kim situation, I think you want to kind of chill out until you know what the tee times are.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, the thing about it is usually if it's windy, it stays windy all day at the Open Championship. Usually that's what I've seen.
Okay.
Any other guys that you're looking at other than Tom? I mean, anybody up top? Tom's definitely 80-1 up there. What about Bocce? What about Sergio? He's out there playing a whole bunch of events, trying to get better.
Spieth?
You see him?
What about Spieth?
He says he's healthy.
And the Open Championship is like where he just gets his juices going.
That and the Masters, that and Augusta, I would agree. Yes. But last time it was here, it was Spieth. I don't even think Spieth was in the top 20. Last time it was here. Oh, he was 20th.
That's like one of his worst Open finishes ever.
Well, he was 6 over on the final day. So there was a lot of ballooning type numbers when it comes down to it. So he was like 7 under going into the final round. So that was probably close.
Not in contention.
Yeah, it was in contention. Yeah. Fleetwood was +3. I mean, nobody in the top 5 was under par that day. Yeah.
Shit. I love majors, man. I'm so excited for the season now we've spoken about these majors. Majors are the shit, dude.
I need a Korean to contend. I need a Korean to contend.
It's going to be big
this year. I'm thinking Benny. So I made a crazy bet. Sungjae at the Masters, Benny at the PGA, Siwoo at Oakmont, and Tom Kim at the Open Championship. It's like 12 billion to 1 or something like that. 1.2 billion to 1. If I put a 25-cent bet on it, and I would win like 6 million.
They won't let you bet $1.
No, they would have probably. I don't know, but I just.
You got to put $1 on that shit, then, Kenny. You can't put 25 cents.
Look, it's not happening, but it was just fun. It was basically just for the screenshot. You know who I was shocked? Who Ben Coley had in the majors, his major specials?
Okay.
Ricky Fowler.
He's going to have to find an emotional support tanker, not just a bottle, because his mental aptitude is just... Dude, that ejection at the LACC Open was just disgusting. Like, talk about just not showing up for the moment. That was just pathetic, man. Pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, he showed some glimpses last year. I want him to win one. I don't think it's going to happen. I was a little shocked when I saw that from Ben, but Ben's sharper than I am. I think there might have been, I don't know exactly what the bet was. So make sure you go to at Ben Coley Golf and follow him for his stuff, because, he's the sharpest dude out there and I love him. But any other guys? Let's talk about guys who we think that can have big years, not just at the major championship. Guys lined up in position after what we saw last year to come this year and start playing elite level golf. They might not be in that elite level yet, but I want golfers who you think can get there this season. My first guy's Benny on. Oh, cool.
Same.
Like I said,
I think he's got all the tools, dude. All the freaking tools. Confidence from the Genesis win in Korea. Let's go, dude. Gets off to a nice start in Hawaii.
I think he had almost half of his starts were top 25s. You have to remember he lost his tour card the year before, had to get it back playing on the Korn Ferry Tour. Yeah, like you said, he won over there in Korea. He was a part of that President's Cup team. I like him a lot this year. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win early. I think he's going to win the Sony. And I wouldn't be shocked if he has 2 wins this season. I think he's going to break out, and he's going to separate himself from the other Koreans. The other Koreans have all sort of started taking a little bit of a step back from where they were. And he's going in the opposite direction. And I think by the end of the year, it's possible that he is the top Korean player in the world over Sungjae. He's the one guy that I'm really looking at this season to go off. Other guys that I'm thinking of, hat on Liv. Like I said, I think he's going to have another strong year. Austin Eckler, right? Two wins, back-to-back, 2 straight years with a win, right? I mean, the guy, or he didn't win 2 last year. Right?
Nice. No, he won the Cognizant and the WWT.
Okay, so he won twice last year. The guy's, again, obviously a proven winner who we've seen, with high finishes in a consistent amount of events, always at higher odds. He's a guy that I do like coming into this year. I think Finau, make or break type season. The way he was striking the ball last year and not really getting anything done was a shame. And I think he's running low on time. He's over 35, right? If he's going to come back and have a strong year, it's got to happen here soon. I'm looking forward to that. I think Patrick Reed is another guy, like I spoke about. I like the fact that he's playing all these worldwide events. I like the fact that he's getting his reps in. I like that about him. I think he could do some damage in the majors. Who do you got? Coming up from that mid-level to get to the top.
Kenny, I think Russell Henley at Oakmont think about how his game goes into that kind of a venue. Accurate as shit, doesn't have the tons of distance, very tidy around he's also turned his short game into a bit of a weapon lately as well, as old Russell. So he's been playing some solid golf. He's an underdog for sure. Doesn't play a lot, but I like him. I'm curious to see what Davis Thompson gets up to after his win at the John Deere Classic. Solid top 10 finish, I believe, at the US Open last year, which kind of gave him the confidence to get through. That's one of his first big time situations. He's great off the tee.
Top 10 on tour in his last 100 rounds in strokes gained tee.
Yeah, ball striking beast.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Like David Thompson. This guy, it's no joke. I didn't really believe him last year, but the more I looked over his shit, the guy's really good.
He's a baller, dude.
And he's always higher numbers, and he's always cheaper on DraftKings. He's definitely someone to look out for.
Yeah, he's sneaky good. I also wanted to mention Max Griesemann. I mean, he's close to the best putter on the PGA Tour, or in the world. I mean, he's gaining a stroke with the putter, which wins you golf tournaments at the end of the day, or doesn't if you're Max Griesemann. But I mean, at some point, with that kind of a putter, you can just have nuclear rounds, and maybe he finds himself a little bit further back, gets a good early start on a Sunday and just goes nuts. He's tempting, like with that kind of putting ability to gain close to a stroke on the year, last 50 rounds, he's gaining a stroke. So I'm curious to see what he gets up to. And then I think Tom Kim has a bounce back, Kenny. I think he had a bad sophomore slump, after a good year to start, or good period to start his
Well, he said that he made a whole bunch of changes earlier in the year. And he said that affected him. He made a bunch of changes with his swing. And he said at the end of the year, he started feeling a little bit more confident. Now, it didn't really show in the playoffs or anything, the FedEx Cup playoffs, but he played a little bit better at the President's Cup. I think him and Benny were 1 and 2 at that Korean event. So he was in contention there. And he's young. And, hopefully he can get over it. But I'm a little bit worried about his mindset when it comes down to it. It seems like he can get really frustrated, really down on himself. And I worry about that a little, especially with his age and his youth.
Kenny, he almost beat Scottie it took a protest to like just disrail his entire, like, if he wins and beats Scottie Scheffler, he'd be talking about him in a totally different light. I think he will be playing the first 2 signature events. Love him at Pebble.
I think that event fucked him up.
Yeah.
Like, I think that event fucked him up. Yeah. Like, he didn't really look the same after that event. I mean, and of course, what he did at the end of the year, the missed playoffs, was just horrible. Any other names that were missing here? I mean, Hideki. I think he had a really strong year, probably top 10 golfer of the year when it comes down to it, when all the finishes and how well he's played and, how much he struggled the year before. He's another guy that I think can come back and maybe catch another major just out of the blue. Keegan Bradley.
Kenny, before you get to Keegan, Hideki Matsuyama at Oakmont as well. I looked up strokes gained. The best strokes gained at a venue. Hideki Matsuyama gains more strokes on approach at the US Open than Sam Burns does putting at the Valspar.
Valspar. Really?
Where Sam Burns
US Opens?
At US Opens, Hideki gains more strokes on approach than Sam Burns gains putting at the Valspar, where Sam Burns has won twice, putted lights out. Hideki at US Opens on approach. And think about the course. Shorter, tons of short game relied, necessary out there. Hideki is probably someone that I think has a good shot.
Try to see where he finished in 2016. I don't see him anywhere.
Let's look here, Hideki.
Just keep on looking. I don't think he made the cut.
He missed the cut. He shot 12. He had a 78 in the second round. It is what it is. It was forever ago. So it's whatever. I think his game translates really well to that kind of a venue still.
Anybody else on your radar before we go into like the newbies out there? Anybody?
I think I've rattled off all my guys, Kenny.
I think Justin Thomas is another guy who can have a good year. The way he played towards the end of the year, I think we could see something from him. What about Bhatia out there?
I mean, he could get off to
any love for
start as
Bhatia
well.
and Thigala and any of those guys?
Not in majors, but I think they've got a good shot at like playing good golf this year for sure. Especially Seth. He's so inconsistent though, so you usually get nice numbers on him for sure too.
Young guys, my favorite coming up. I didn't really look too much in the Korn Ferry Tour. I don't even know if this guy has his card, but I know he's going to get sponsors and invites, and I know he's going to play. Luke Land.
You keep stealing my guys.
The thing about Luke is, if he had enough stats to record on the PGA Tour last year, he would be top 10 in like basically every ball striking stat there is. The dude's an animal. He's been in contention already as an amateur. The amount of shit he probably learned this year as an amateur playing these events can go a long way. I think he could be a stud. He could be the next stud in the vein of Hovland and Ober.
Dude, I think also he's kind of just taking the safe route to get his tour card. He's not going to go KFT. He needs like minimal amounts of points to get his tour card through PGA Tour U. Like a few more good finishes on tour gets him that, or just winning the NCAA, which I think he said he wants to go back to take care of. Where does he go to school? Is it Oklahoma?
I think it's either Oklahoma or Florida State, maybe.
Florida State makes a bit more sense too. Yeah,
Florida State.
It's that maroon color for sure, though. So yeah. I think he wants to go there and win that NCAA. So he's definitely someone I'm going to keep an eye on for sure. What about like Nikolai Højgaard came over here? Kenny had a top 20 finish at the Masters and finished second at the Farmers. No other good finishes. Like he had no other top 30 finishes and still kept his card. I think Rasmus is a sneaky DP World Tour player.
I think he might be better than Nikolai, right?
I think so too.
I don't doubt that.
His game suits what the PGA Tour needs. Got tons of distance off the tee, and he's obviously the number one guy on the DP World Tour there. And then I think my boy Tristan. Going to be interesting to see what he gets up to. I mean, big performance at the Open Championship last year. Was right in the mix to take down Rory at the race to Dubai. He was the only person that could beat him. So he's trying to become great. I think he needs to work on the ball striking a smidge, but he's a great short game specialist, which could help him in various tournaments. But those DP Tour guys seem very enticing to me. And then old Matt McCarty, Kenny.
I was just about to bring him up.
No, like, I think he's very enticing as well, with how won 4 times last year, 3 on the KFT, once on the PGA. So he's right in the mix again. Didn't quite finish out the year well at the RSM, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do at places like the Sony and things like that.
Well, he had 4 wins in about 15 starts.
It's insane.
Which is crazy. And he won on the PGA Tour. So, yeah, I think he's definitely another guy. He's already in the top 50 in the world at this moment in time. And so, yeah, definitely. Anything else that we want to talk about before we head on out of here?
I think that's
talk about your tool, underdog tool.
Oh, yeah.
Sell it.
Boys and girls, if you don't, I've sold so many of these things. If you don't have it, I don't know if you're going to do well in underdog. There's a massive overlay at underdog as well. So the edge is just huge. You're going to get a lot of your money back. You'll get a lot more teams advancing than you think.
And this is for best ball.
For best ball at underdog PGA, I think you got to get this tool. It changes the rankings as you're drafting to kind of make sure that you're getting the right guys lined up to fit the schedule that you need, because it's all about the schedule. It's not who you play, it's how you play them. And you have to project starts correctly for this tournament. You can't just randomly pick names, because you're going to have...
Hey, well, here's a shocking thing right now. Eric Cole is being drafted, average draft position, 2 rounds ahead of Rory. That should tell you that there's some strategy going on. You have to know what the strategy is. And Byron's tool, the Dog Dominator, is definitely worth it. How much is it, $30?
It is now $40.
$40. Price keeps raising. That's fine.
I know.
$40. And here's the thing. I don't think you can win without it, because it's going to help you so much in drafts. Secondly, Byron just had a kid. Congratulations. Everyone say, is it cool if I say this on the show?
Absolutely. 33 cents a diaper right now. So I need...
What's her? I forget.
Piper
what's her name?
Jean. PJ.
Piper. So when I think of Piper, I think of Orange is the New Black and women's prison. So probably not the best thought.
Great association there, Kenny. Yeah.
Not the best, but first kid, all right, let's help Byron out. Let's give him some money. You get something in return. He's keeping all of this money for himself to buy groceries, to buy diapers, to raise this kid right. So if you've been a fan of the show, go ahead, order the Dog Dominator, $40. Go on his Twitter site, buy it. Even if you don't play underdog, even if you don't even plan on doing it, just get it to support my man, support his kid, support his family, and do your good deed for the day. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and send him $40 right now myself, just for that.
I will hold you to that.
I'm lying. I'm not going to send you shit. But all right. So anything else that we need to talk about before we move on?
How many wins does Scottie Scheffler get in 2025?
Here's the thing. You think he can keep this going? Because Patrick Harrington once had a quote, and he says the elite golfers have a 2 to 3 year window where that's where they really need to get all their wins, right? And that's the majority of golfers. That's true. I mean, not everyone's Tiger, not everyone's Jack. You have that 3 year window. We're probably on that 3rd year right now for Scott. Can he continually keep this up? Because we've seen this from other golfers. Rory, when he first started, right?
Yep.
We've seen this. We've seen it from Spieth.
Yep.
Right? And that game fell off. We've seen it. It's not a new thing. And now he's the fresh cup of tea that's available right now. Do you think that he can keep this up for the long haul?
I don't think he wins 7 times in 2024. So I will say, I said he's over to 2.5 wins this year. I think he goes a little backwards.
2.5. I would probably have to take the over on that.
Sure. Okay, what would you set the line at then? That's my question to you.
Probably 5.5.
It's a lot of wins, dude.
I would probably have to put that at 5.5. What did he have in 2023?
7.
No, 2024 he had this past.
Oh, 7,
year.
yeah.
Yeah. Hold on, let's look at Scott.
I can look here. His career summary, he had 9 wins total in 2024, 3 in 2023, and 4 in 2022. So, what did I say? 3.5 or 2.5?
2.5.
Okay, I'll change it to 3.5.
I would go 5.5 for the over under, and I'm hoping he goes under.
Me too. We'll all make more money
as a better. That would just be the best thing. I mean, last year I did hit him once at the Players, but that was Saturday live bet on the 14th hole.
Yeah,
28-1. I think it was 8 strokes down, and he birdied the last 3 holes that day, and then came back on Sunday to win. So that was one of the.
That's good.
All right, we done? Byron, tell them where they can find you.
Catch me at the Model Mania Connects, baby. That's where I'll tell you right now. Rotoballer. I'm actually doing a premium package for Rotoballer. It's just going to be a brand new thing. All sorts of fun stuff for you guys over there. And Back 9 Bets on Tuesdays at 7 Eastern on Mayo Media, right? On this very platform that you will be liking and subscribing to as you leave this video.
You can find me on X at KendoVT. Oh, one thing before I leave. One strategy for this downtime in December, if you're betting on golf, and it's worked the last 3 weeks for me. Of course, I'm going to say this is the last thing. We got to finish in 2 minutes. So I've been tailing all the sharp DP World Tour guys, Ryan Baroff, Sky Hoke, KG, Jim Cummings, all those guys. I tail all their long shot picks, like 150 and above to 1. Tail them to 12 places each way. I've hit every single week, 3 in a row. The last 3 weeks. I've won.
Makes so much sense, Kenny.
Yeah, right. So I've won, what is it, 1,500 on 200, $300 worth of bets. So 30 units, just about in 6 units bet. And the funny thing is 200 of those bet were just this past week because I went a little bit overboard. So that's a great strategy. I'm going to do that from now on, all week field Euro Tour events. And I think it'll work for those 4 guys, whoever your favorite European Tour guys are. Tail all their long shots, 200 to 1 or to 12 places. Printing money. But again, you can find me at Twitter on X at KendoVT. You can find me on gupscorner.com. Use promo code Kenny. Save yourself 30% on a sub. It should be a fun year. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be another great year for the Fantasy Golf Degenerates. Really, I got to say, this past year has been a blast. Byron, Mike, thank you so much for bringing me back. Almost was thinking about stopping at some point in time, but you guys brought the love back. I'm ready to go. Let's get this done for year 10. Let's win some motherfucking money. Degen Nation.